Vincent, how has the property market changed from when you first started back in 2003, right? You said to today.
To be frank, in fact, the property market doesn't really change much. To be frank, okay. What really changed is the purchasers' expectation because they able to gain information easier compared to those days. Compared to those days when I had my first property.
How was
Yeah.
that back in the day? Like we used to go through the newspapers and everything. Is it now?
When
It's
I
online.
was then when yeah when I was then started off, newspaper is one of the most prominent media that for developers to advertise their properties, right? We will gauge from in terms of whenever we do advertisements, will be on newspaper. Then we will gauge by having phone calls coming in. During then, you'll get quite a bit of phone calls. But nowadays, wherever you do your advertisement, you don't seem to have that much because people tend to know where to find the information and they will know how to come to you. Then therefore, this kind of engagement or this kind of gauging of in terms of does this media actually give you respond or not, you can't really do that's much no more. Yeah. Same as billboard. So more or less at this moment, what we take it as in probably is as branding to put ourselves in the market so that people keep reminded of us, of our existence, so that when purchasers were to buy or they see you in somewhere, probably they will thought of you. That's more as in branding. Yeah. Keep them intact.
So it's more keep you top of mind, keep the brand top of mind. It's this project, it's that project, that it's part of this developer, right?
Yeah, because you see, buying properties is different than buying consumer products, FMCG. You see, property you cannot to say, okay, I want to choose a brand. Then the brand will bring you the location or will provide you all the needs, all in your checklist, all the ticks. It might not. So mainly people buy properties probably due to certain reasons, and the main thing they think of will be location. So like it or not, you will have to go through the location and check what is available. Then only you start off with your checklist, what kind of property, what kind of brand, who are you going to buy from, these are the differences. While if buying FMCG different, like buying clothes, fashion or whatever, you have a good brand, you know of the qualities, you just go straight. But property is different. For example, properties you have branded out there too. Good brands, whatever is the names of company. Then when you go to them, they might tell you, so, oh, this area we don't have the development. Then what else? You might explore whatever is available, but doesn't suit you, then you go for somebody else. So you compromise. So that's the difference between properties. In fact, same as car. Compared to cars, you can as long as whatever brand you go, it definitely have somehow one model fits you, right?
Yeah,
Or anywhere
that's
you
true.
go to. But property is different. Properties, there's a lot of factors come into pictures when you buy it, and there's a lot of things come into. For example, like what I always say is, how do we value the property? Yeah, you see everybody's have a thought of, okay, this property is expensive, that property is cheap. How do you value that compared to apparel that we are buying, or the food that we're going for at the restaurants? We value that, or we know that this is worth it, that is worth it. But properties, everybody have just. I find them that property, everybody is neglecting the value of that property to each and every one of us.
Yeah.
Because everybody thought that, okay, property is supposed to be something that should be cheap, affordable, but you want it cheap and affordable. Does it brings you? What's your requirement of a property then?
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a personal thing that sometimes it's a personal thing, right? Actually, you know what? Earlier you're talking about different factors because like car, you like a model and then it can go fast or whatever it is, right? It depends on what it
yeah,
is you're looking for. But in this case now, So when I look for a property, I look for location, accessibility, probably public amenities and stuff like this. Now we have to take into some like COVID-19 is also a factor now already. So how has the market changed post COVID-19 because of COVID-19 as well?
Okay, probably thanks to the pandemic, the inquiries getting more. And
More.
more, yeah. You could see that's a good news. Thanks to the media also, they are bringing up good news, positive news where they, there's a lot of developers is reporting good results over the past months, even though everybody have a gloomy markets and everybody is afraid, having the risk of getting retrenched and so forth and so forth. But yeah, where there's always a word, there's a term that mentioned, when there's a risk, there's an opportunity. I mean, that's when there's a crisis, you have an opportunity. So for properties, is history from what you know, especially as Asians or Malaysia. Properties is a culture to us. We were brought up to how to say, every one of us must own the properties.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now it's like 2020. The 2000 baby boomers, the 2000 babies is already in their 20s, in their working environment. They are all affordable. So these are the new markets now. All right. How does it change? It emphasizes more on digital. People will tend to, okay, guys, because we have a social distancing, we are not able to, during this period, we are not able to move around so easily as used to. And there's an SOP all over the place. Therefore, everybody now focusing onto digital, which is already been practicing at least a decade or two before, or when I was just a boy in the properties market, we already have that. We used to have web page, but of course, it's not as smooth as now, as nice as now, or we weren't having this fast internet then.
Yeah.
During then dial-up, digital, those things. So it's technology change. In fact, property market do not. It's still the same conventional. It's still one of the oldest business in the world now. So in terms of property itself, it does not. It's just a technology change. It assists. It helps bring information to us end user easier.
Because it's pretty. Yeah. Sorry. Continue. Yeah.
Sorry. Because then of course information comes to you. Is it how real are they? How comprehensive are that? That's all of us. We have to find ourselves then. Yeah.
Because you're right about that. The property market in many cases, I'm just surprised that there were more inquiries, but it's very simple. I need a house to stay in. I need 3 rooms, 2 baths, or whatever it is, and you guys provide it. That's pretty straightforward. But you mentioned technology. Like 10 years ago, apps started to be very popular already, and then people were using the apps to actually look for properties here or there. You can choose the number of rooms. You can really go down to, I want a balcony, I want sports facilities and this and that. But now, because of COVID-19, do you need to add even more technology, or did you add more? And what types of technology are you using right now in the property industry to make it easier for you guys to sell?
Okay, goes back to the question just now mentioned. You were surprised that says, in fact, reported more inquiries. In fact, to be frank, inquiries was there, but because it's more focused during pandemic, I mean at this moment, where we tend to, because most of the users, they have no free movement. It's not free movement. They can't go around by themselves. Therefore, they call, they check it out. Then technologies captures data where the media able to report to you, oh, you see there's a jump of inquiries, there's an inquiries here and there. In fact, to be frank, inquiries is all over the time, the whole year long. Just that because we are freely moving, we can just go anywhere as we want. The data wasn't captured by the technologies because we don't use call so much. We didn't go through apps so much or web page so much because we move around. But due to this period of time, like so-called lockdown or whatever controlled movement, then yes, we have nowhere to go. What else do? We call or sales agent radio calls or property developers calls. Then we chat with them because we have time at home, right? That's where the data captured. Second, we'll go online more often. You see, even reported that internet was being user get basically multiplied over this period of time. So we go in online, we go through their web page, we go check out their apps. So data captured, so they have numbers. That's where the numbers come in. They make a report. So come back to the technologies. In fact, as I always say, the technologies was there. Over the past years of my experience, I've done quite a bit. I've done these three. There's a few items of that on terms of technology to provide you the information. Was like web page. You can have this Metapod, which is I think at this moment is the most popular one.
What's it called again?
Metapod.
Metapod. Okay.
Metapod is a virtual. It capture a real reality, actual places, then make it so that it give you something like VR, but you do not need to put a goggle out. Right. So we call Metapod, where this is I believe at this moment the most economic one. Where so you will see most of the developer having it of their show unit. It captured the real scene.
Right.
While the virtual reality is something that you build. That will be slightly more costly. Something that you build is more costly. Then you have something else like called 3D. I did that. What do you call? Hologram.
Oh, right.
Too. Yeah, you know, something you watch in Star Wars where there's people comes out from nowhere, zoom out. Those things. I did that before too. See, technologies was there, but the user, the end user, and the participants or the audience are not there. First of all, ask yourself, JD, I understood that you're looking for properties.
Yeah.
Will you buy a property just by looking at hologram, VR, or whatever on the papers? You don't. You see, because it's a huge money that you're gonna put in. Yeah. And the best part is you're gonna use it if you don't mention live. You're gonna use it for a long time to come. It's supposed to bring you convenience rather than who knows what's going to happen later, right? So this is what happened. We provide those are tools to assist. At the end of the day, you see why also reported in the media that sales agent, the realtor, in fact, have more inquiries because us being human, the security is there. We need the trust.
Yep.
Therefore, we prefer to talk to human. We prefer to have someone to talk to and to rely on to get information. To how to say the words is in to further emphasize or to further the words. I lost the word. Yeah, to
enhance.
No.
To place more importance, right?
Yeah, to put the points up, you know, that's how it is. Because when you go, you can have a lot of information, as I said, through internet. You get a lot through apps or whatever. Then you compile. At the end of the day, how sure are you the information provided to you is useful or is compliant to what your requirement is?
Right.
So you go out and ask for people. You ask your friends, hey, this and that. You see? So you want to get you want to bring them in the same boat, you know, so that you have someone to be in the group,
yeah.
To approve your data, so that when you buy, you have okay, cool. Because I have asked this person who have experience, or I have that person, all of them are approving. So okay, fine, shouldn't be doing anywhere wrong, you know. That's how it is.
Right.
But on data, nobody gonna talk to you. It's only you yourself. So that's technology are just basically to assist, not so much as in changing the landscape of the market.
Now, earlier you mentioned the 3D walkthrough where it's actually real time and in the Metapod, right? Where because I've done some of that before, and it's here overseas as well. And I love how it actually makes me feel like I'm actually like I can feel the dimensions because the picture only tells me one. It's very monodimensional, but that one actually helps me move around how much space I have between myself and the TV potentially whatnot, right? But in my case, you're right. I don't know because it might be anything between 500,000 to a million to maybe even more. Are buyers in general able to make a decision just based on a virtual walkthrough where property is concerned, or in your case you mentioned they still prefer to do an actual physical walkthrough? Is it?
This is more the factor of cost and also the consumer, as I mentioned.
Yeah,
The
and when
budget.
to close the deal itself,
Yeah.
does anybody actually close the deal just based on a virtual walkthrough?
Yeah, they do.
Really?
Yeah, because okay, for us developer, we are selling properties which is under construction. You don't have the real thing. The best we can do is we build the show unit or replicate some of the features which you can provide to you at this moment. So the purchaser don't have the real thing. It's different by comparing buying sub sales. So they basically buying from the brochures, buying from what we provide. Of course, at the end of the day, the showroom play a huge part.
Oh, it does,
Because
right? Yeah.
yeah, basically they go in, you see, by going through your virtual, it's all pictures, you don't really be able to gauge the space. You know, how big, how small, how tight. Probably in the virtual reality or in your virtual walkthrough, it seems that everything is so small. Because everything is so near.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's limited because the movements are limited.
Yeah.
But when you go to the showroom, we become small. So the thing there where you can gauge, okay, I buy at this 800 square feet so called, okay, the floor plans are pretty well planned, the floors are all cool, the size of the room are all just justifiable. That's how it is. Then you have more confidence. Then you have it give you you approve you more as in, all right, this is the right thing I bought, you know. That's how it is.
So for you, in your personal opinion, though, which is better, a walkthrough or a virtual? I mean, like a physical walk through the show house that you guys built, purpose built just for people to walk through, or the virtual look? Which do you personally prefer?
Okay, the real one. Because okay, as I mentioned just now, I forgot to add on, which is the cost. To build a virtual reality or to build all this 3D, it costs you more in terms of monetary value, denomination.
Oh,
It,
okay.
yeah, it actually takes you more time, right? Because of rendering, right? Then, but in terms of I build a show unit,
Yeah.
it will takes me about a month to two max from a scratch of empty land to one whole big sales gallery.
Right.
As long as the developer pumping money, the humans manpower is there, it can be speed up. But in terms of the software, all this virtual thingy, it can't. Because there's a limitation in terms of systems, in terms of the developer so-called of this IT developer where they have their systems are limited, you know. So these are the limitation in terms of virtual. But then at the end of the day, still the user, the audience, they will still prefer to have the real one because you get to communicate and contact with people. Because if I was just go through my website, for example, we have the area view, we give you the locations, you know, 360-degree. Those are things that you would like to know. But at the end of the day, you want to feel actual, the real one, the reality, in fact. Yeah.
That's true because I do that as well. For me, I always go for like I'm thinking of buying a completed project, maybe a second-hand unit, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to go in. It's a very strange thing with me. I want to go in and smell the place. I want to go in and feel the place. I want to go in and like, is there enough sunlight and stuff like this? Sometimes a show unit, it's great to show me the dimensions, but it doesn't have the soft.
The environment feel, the actual feel.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, you see, for us human, we have this, we have feelings. We have this so-called, they call it instinct. That's why people would like to go to a certain place. Okay, if I'm buying this place, let me go check it out. They go stand there, they feel the house. You know, do you have any goosebump or not? You know, they check out the
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, especially people who want to buy those is already ready, you can check it out. So they go through the house room by room, toilet to toilet, and check out the quality of it and
And
the
the
neighborhood.
view.
Yeah, and the neighborhood, because what most important is the neighborhood, which is something that you have money, you cannot buy, you cannot build. You whatever you buy is just the property that you are owning, the space. For example, if you're talking about high-rise condo, those are space that you're buying because you're living in community living.
Yeah.
If you're buying landed, that's the piece of land that you're buying. Your neighbors, your roads, the landscape, or whatever around the facilities, amenities is not something that you can control. So that's what all the factors comes into picture. Yeah.
Actually,
so this is why.
On top of that, there's a new thing that I've seen nowadays, and because it's very much a today's property market kind of thing. Now there are a lot of perks to buying nowadays. One of them being a smart home. Does having a smart home filled with all these fancy technology help to increase the value of a home? And does it actually draw in people to even want to buy a home because it's all high tech and everything?
It would draw in new youngsters who feel that high techs are one of the new living lifestyle.
Right.
But probably ask ourselves, how have we actually gone through all the so-called all the features in our phone?
Oh, no, that's true. Yeah.
We don't, right?
No, I can call. I'm
So
happy.
exactly, it's the same. The only thing smart home gives you is to change the way that you maneuver your house. So like, how do you on your lights? How do you off your lights? How do you maneuver within your house? The electricities or whatever that is connected to electric, you know? So does it really help us as in selling it? Because it's the same thing. It comes with cost. You escalate the price of the property. But does it necessary? Yes, it enhances, it give you some wow factor. For example, if I have to provide you a smart home, usually smart home sales, what they do is, if you've forgotten about how off the lighting or whatever, you just off it through your phone or whatever, or before you go back reach home, then you just on the aircon and somehow.
Right.
Yeah, but in our world where we are talking about sustainability, we are talking about recycle, we're talking about the environment, all these are taking the pictures where what's the point that I on it before I reach home?
Yeah.
It makes no much of a difference. Of course, yes, I might forgot and I should have off it, but anyhow, it's one of the very minimal thing that you be basically using it. Right? So technology is there for us to supposed to enhance, but I believe it makes us a little more lazy, basically.
But smart home
anyway,
also, the security though, doesn't that help to increase the value
security
of a
is
home?
there all the time. You see, you have the alarm systems, you have the CCTV. Yes, you can check it out. It's just one part of the smart home, or so-called Internet of Things. You go through using internet. Yes, it's something to enhance, but it's all personal preference. I might provide you something which is good, but probably you have a bigger budget, you want something better. Then it will basically overlap what is being provided. You will remove it, you do a new one. That's called wastage. You see, similar as, because our market is different still. First of all, our so-called workmanship is still cheaper compared to a lot of countries. Therefore, Malaysia, you see, renovation and ID is still such a good business, while the other countries are not. Well, certain countries, they provide you a house, fitted house, fully furnished, probably like Singapore, where you come from, or any other countries that they provide you a house which is already fitted and furnished. People don't mind. But in Malaysia, everybody thought, every owners or every property buyers always find that our own is the best architect and interior designer. So we tend to renovate.
Mm.
So if you to give them this, then they will tend to not say, okay, this is not my preference, I want to change. It will be wastage. Because the cost at the end of the day, you paid for it.
So basically, if I were to sell my property, let's say I built a house, and I'm like, ooh, before I sell the house, I better put in all this high tech stuff because I think it's going to increase the value. It doesn't necessarily do that, right?
For sub sales, it does.
Ah,
For sub sales, it does. Because why? It make yourself differentiate yourself within whatever in the market. For property developer, because they come in as a project, which is quantity is there.
cookie cutter, right? Yeah.
So it's different. For us, if you want to sell whatever that we're staying, of course, it's best you fully renovated it. You fit in whatever the best is, so that when the seller come in, they see a house ready for them to move in. Then the cost incurred to these people are lesser. You see, developer is selling future. They are buying into future. While us sub-sales, they are buying into current. You must understand the cost incurred between buying a property under construction and buying property if it's completed are a whole lot different.
Right.
The value itself, the sum of it are a lot different. So
I get it.
It makes a lot different. Yeah.
Right.
For example, same. Ask yourself if you go to a house empty, well painted, well lit up with electricities. Well lit up with electrical appliances, to a house which is same next door neighbor, but not well lit up, or no, they didn't repaint it, or so called, compare. So which one you feel better?
Yeah.
You more willing to pay a little bit extra for probably a few thousand for a newly painted house compared
Correct.
to
Yes. Yeah.
one? Why not?
Yeah.
So these are the things that makes different. But for a property developer, everything's the same.
Right. So you play to the sentiments of who might buy, right? Because
Correct.
that's where I'm at right now. I was quite content with renting because I move around constantly. So I was quite content with just renting. But right now, because of how COVID has affected everything, the property prices are pretty good. So I'm wondering, maybe I should buy. So, Vincent, in your opinion, is this the right time to buy?
You see, whenever I go, people will ask me, is this the right time to buy? Whenever, the whole year round. My answer is always very simple. Every day is a good time to buy. Why? Because it's your need. It's a necessity. There's no right time or bad time to buy. Unless you're talking about, I'm buying it like a share market. I'm buying a share. Yeah, everybody would say, buying for a short term. Then that's up to you, man. You gauge yourself. But property is a long-term thing. You don't buy it for 6 months. You don't buy it for 2 years. You buy it for at least a decade. Unless you're looking about short term, then no days is a good day.
Right.
You never know what's happen tomorrow. Nobody knows what happened nobody will actually gauge for what happened now. You see? So just like it comes back to the question is, do you need to buy, or do you need to why can't you rent? You see? That's the question. Most of us, we have an answer is, well, I must buy because I was brought up this mentality that I must buy one at least, if not two. You see? If I have a two, then probably I achieve my ultimate life goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for us being Asian or in Malaysia, these are what we brought up to. But now in the new generation, we're talking about, do we need to buy or not? So as you say, yeah, because I need to have my home, since I'll be permanently in Malaysia, so called, or at this place going to stay, I have a new job, I have a place to stay for another 5 or 6 years. Yeah, there's the need to you buy. There's no other time that's better than now. Right. So you will have to go find the best within your budget and meet up most of your requirement, then you buy.
Dangerous, like you talking to you. I now my mind is sweet. Before that was 50-50. Now I'm like 75-80% going to buy already right now. So I definitely want to buy now.
You see that our mentality, us in Asia and Westerners are different. You look, there's a reason why our properties are expensive in terms of our income ratio compared. See, America or any Westerners, they buy a property, they stay there for almost as long as possible. They don't buy many.
Yeah.
And they don't move around so much. If they move, they will sell and buy another one.
Mm.
They will not keep, for whatever reason. So, but for us, it's different. We might have sentimental of it, or we think of it as an investment. So
Yeah.
that's the mentality. Yeah. Okay.
So, Vincent, for someone like me or any buyer right now, what's your advice to them and also to me when it comes to buying property right now in this current climate? What should we look for? What should we be concerned with? What should we put more importance into? What's your advice?
You ask me personally through my experience, ask yourself, whenever you buy, not now, future, or past, ask yourself, why do you need to buy? And what's your requirement? And then you value the property as you think how much it's supposed to be. Because if you do not, you see what I said, I think I mentioned before, we tend to neglect properties as a valuable items or asset.
Yeah.
Because we value those branded bags. We know the value of it. It's supposed to be in this range, if I were to sell is this range. But property is different. A lot of people think that no, property is just supposed to be cheap and it's supposed to be everybody's affordable. But in fact, this is the best thing or something that you're supposed to really know how to value it. There's a difference between people who are rich, they know the value of the place, they have time to wait, then someone will throw it out, they will buy.
Mm-hmm.
Because why they buy? Because they know the value is there. And whatever you sell is undervalued or they see the value for the future. It's the same as when we buy properties. And also the same as we sell. So when we sell, are we desperate to sell? If not, you keep it as you value your property.
Right.
If you think your property is this value, after you have done so much, then keep it until then. The price will come to that. But of course, due to the sentimental and also add up to how the tactics of the agent nowadays, it changed. It makes everybody fear. So, oh no, market is going to drop, better sell. Market is not going to drop if you don't sell it cheaply.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are the one who caused it, basically. And
there's no bubble, right? Everybody talks about a bubble and everything. There's no such thing.
I'm not the economist, but to me is what bubble are everybody talking about? I seriously am not really knowing all this bubble thingy. Because first of all, you just check it out over the dinner table. You ask, how many of you own the properties? Probably 50%?
Yeah.
That means I have a 50% market there.
Okay, yeah. Good point. Yeah, that's simple.
And then property developers are all selling properties nowadays still. They need to survive. If there isn't market there, or a so-called bubble is there, then you think all these businessmen are stupid? They are not, right?
That's a good point.
And then the second thing of all, for us Malaysia, construction is our bread and butter. It moves because construction, it provides a lot of employment opportunities. That's the reason why you see Malaysia we are still in the upcoming building up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of construction around, yes. So it's still there. And compared to our neighbors, we are still affordable. Just that the comparison is different. The affordability is there isn't a benchmark or measurement talking about affordability. It's as long as you have enough money to buy certain things, that's your affordability. Yeah, your affordability and mine is different. Probably you have $1 million budget.
No.
I only have 200,000. So when I see your house, I'll say I'm not afford to. Your house is expensive, but in fact, to you is value, worth it. So everybody has his own measurement or has his own guidelines. So you ask me for advice, ask yourself, what's your need? Check out what's your need first. Because what you want doesn't really matter. You can just build it later. House is just a space. Then you move in, you build your house within how you want to be, renovate according to your liking, or you have budget. Probably now, I want to have those bachelor hut, I don't have much money. I just go for my master bedroom first, then living later and add on. Because you're not going to be there for just 6 months. You're going to be there for quite some time. By the time you build up, who knows, once you move in, you got lazy, you find that, all right, I don't really need that so-called nice painting or whatever, then you save all your money. It's all about needs. You ask me personally, seriously, when I buy a property, I don't really look in the future price and somehow, because it's still a better asset hedging over inflation. The property price goes up. It's not because it's like share, people pump in, it go up, demand high, it's because inflation. Money
Right.
goes smaller, and if the values goes higher, then that's how it is.